Have you ever felt like your emotions just have a mind of their own? Like they're hijacking your best intentions? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to unpack the secrets to managing all that inner chaos and finally taking back control. Let's dive right in.
Wow. Does that sound familiar or what? I mean, that moment, you know the one, where you promise yourself, okay, this time I'll do better, only to have that promise just disappear in a flash of frustration. This quote from Dr. Becky Bailey just hits so close to home. It's a struggle that is so deeply, universally human.
That feeling of being stuck, it isn't just in your head. It's actually a very real, very predictable pattern. It's called the cycle of sabotage. Let's break down exactly how this emotional loop works and, more importantly, why it has such a powerful grip on us. Dr. Bailey calls this the unregulated life. It's that kind of chaotic state where our emotions are just bouncing all over the place. One minute we feel like a total victim of our circumstances, and the next we become the villain who's lashing out. And that builds up, it almost always leads to an explosion. And then, of course, a whole lot of regret. And here it is, the cycle of self-sabotage in action. It's this addictive loop that keeps our own best intentions just totally out of reach. What's so amazing here is seeing that feeling of being stuck mapped out like this, as a real, repeatable process. So let's trace the path, shall we? It all starts with feeling stuck. Then, instead of looking inward, we start demanding that the world bend to our will. And when it doesn't, which, let's be honest, it rarely does, we blame everyone else. And finally, to cope with it all, we bury the feeling. We use work or food or really anything to just numb the pain. You see the pattern, right? So yeah, that's the trap. But here's the really good news. There is a key that unlocks it. And it's not about having more willpower. It's about building a skill. It is time to meet your new best friend, self-regulation. And this is maybe the most important takeaway of all. Self-regulation is not some fixed personality trait you either have or you don't. No, it is a learnable skill, just like learning to play the guitar or speaking a new language. And that is so incredibly empowering because it means anyone, and yes, I mean you, can actually master. Now, mastering this skill, it really requires a huge shift in our mindset. It's about moving away from what we might call traditional discipline, which is all about trying to control other people, and moving toward conscious discipline, which is about the only thing we can ever truly control, ourselves. I mean, just look at that last line, how we view conflict. It's not some problem to be shut down, it's an opportunity to teach and to grow. That's a game changer. So, to manage our emotions, we first have to understand what they're even for. What if I told you that your feelings aren't the enemy? In fact, what if they're actually more like an internal compass, this really sophisticated system designed to help you? Think about it like this. When you touch a hot stove, physical pain is a super useful signal to, move your hand. Well, emotional pain is the exact same thing. It's what's called your emotional guidance system, your EGS, and it's telling you that something inside needs your attention. It's not a malfunction, it's a message. So this means we don't find solutions by ignoring our feelings or stuffing them down. We actually find them by engaging with them, by walking across that bridge of curiosity to really understand the message they're trying to send us. Okay, so how do we actually do this when our blood is boiling and we're in the moment? Well, this brings us to the real heart of it all, a practical 5-step toolkit you can use anytime you feel that emotional mayhem starting to build up. All right, here they are. First, I am. You just notice you're triggered. That's it. Whoa, I am angry. Second, I calm. This is the crucial physical step. You have to soothe your body's stress response. Third, I feel. This is where you go a little deeper and name the true emotion. Are you really just angry, or maybe are you scared, embarrassed? Fourth, I choose. This is where you get your power back. And finally, I solve, where you can actually address the original problem, but now with a clear head. And for that all-important step 2, I calm, here is a super powerful and simple tool. STAR breathing. S, smile. This instantly relaxes hundreds of muscles in your face. T, take a deep breath. A, and relax. I'm telling you, this simple sequence can stop an emotional hijack right in its tracks. So what is it that's actually pushing our buttons in the first place? Dr. Bailey uses this brilliant analogy of emotional CD-ROMs. These are old patterns, basically recorded way back in our childhood, that just get replayed automatically. The 5-step process we just talked about, that's how we finally hit pause on that old track and consciously record a new, more helpful one. So, why is mastering this skill so absolutely critical? Because honestly, it's bigger than just our own peace of mind. It's about the legacy we leave. It's about the profound ripple effect that our emotional state has on the children in our lives. This is such a powerful insight. Let that sink in. We literally cannot give our children a skill that we don't possess ourselves. They don't learn from our lectures, they learn from our actions. The absolute most effective way to teach them is to show them how it's done. So just remember, every single time you successfully use these steps to navigate a trigger, you're doing so much more than just helping yourself. You are giving an invaluable gift to the next generation. You're handing them a living, breathing blueprint for emotional health that they can use for the rest of their lives. And let's just end with this thought. We so often see our triggers as our deepest flaws, don't we? But what if we reframed them? What if every single time you felt that flash of anger, you saw it not as a personal failure, but as a perfect, real-time opportunity to practice, to model, and ultimately, to teach? What could you build then?